Hello friends, welcome to Keralwala English Academy channel. This channel will regularly give you videos that will help to improve your English language skills. So please subscribe this channel, like my videos and share your comments. So your help and support will enable me to come up with more useful and informative videos. Today we are going to talk about IELTS exams. IELTS means International English Language Testing System. As I said earlier, IELTS means International English Language Testing System. This is an English examination designed and promoted by Cambridge University. So it's a Cambridge University exam. Now there are two different types of IELTS exams. You have an academic module and a general training module. So there are two different types of IELTS test. You can either take academic module or general training module. So now who actually requires IELTS exams? IELTS exam is required by anyone who wish to do their further studies in an English-speaking country or practice their profession in an English-speaking country, or anybody who is planning to migrate to an English-speaking country require IELTS exams. Now, those people who wish to migrate to an English-speaking country require general training module. And students who want to do their further studies in an English-speaking country require IELTS academic module. And also those professionals who will need to write a licensure exam in an English-speaking country to practice their profession over there require IELTS academic. Now let us look into IELTS test results. If you are taking pen and paper test, you will get your results within 3 weeks of your test. So if you are not comfortable with pen and paper, you can also take IELTS on computer. We call it CDIELTS, which means computer delivered IELTS. You will have to visit the exam center where they are conducting CDIELTS. And if you take a CDIELTS, your results will be published within 5 days of your test. Now your test results are reported on a score scale of 1 to 9. Apart from the overall score of 1 to 9, your scores also reported as a profile for each of your language skills such as writing, listening, reading and speaking. So when you get your test report, you will have an overall band score and individual band scores for each module like writing, listening, reading and speaking. We cannot exactly say if you have passed or failed IELTS test because there is no passing or failing IELTS test. Depending on the purpose of your writing exam, your required score might differ. For example, for migrating to certain countries, you may require an overall band score of 7 with an individual 7. Some other countries may require an overall band score of 6.5. Similarly, certain universities or colleges for certain courses might ask you to have a 7 overall and 7 individual score. But at the same time, certain other universities or colleges for some degree might ask you to have just 6 band score. So whenever you get your required score, it is considered you cracked IELTS exam. And now let us look into the exam pattern. As I said earlier, you have 4 different subtests in IELTS test. You have a writing test. Writing test is the first you come across on your exam day. And you have a listening test followed by a reading test. So writing, listening and reading are the 3 subtests you will take on your exam day. And you will also have a speaking test, but it may not be on the same day. Your speaking schedule would be given to you, which may be say 1 to 7 days earlier or 1 to 7 days later than your exam day. So on your exam day, you will attend your writing, listening and reading test. And your speaking test would be conducted on a different day. Now let us look into each of these subtests. As I said, the first subtest you will take in IELTS is your writing test. The duration of your writing test is 60 minutes. That's 1 hour. And you have 2 different tasks to complete. If you are taking a general training module, your task 1 will be a letter and the task 2 will be an essay. Or if you are taking academic writing, your task 1 would be writing a report and the task 2 will be an essay. So in both the type of IELTS exam, writing task 2 would be an essay. You are required to do the task 1 in 20 minutes and the task 2 in 40 minutes. So the advised time for task 1 is 20 minutes and task 2 40 minutes. So your task 1 should be no less than 150 words, which would mean you need to write a little more than 150 words. And your task 2 need to be 250 word essay. So your essay need to be a little more than 250 words. Unlike other exams where we hear when the word count is 300 words, you are required to write less than 300 words. But in IELTS, when the word limit is 250 words, you are required to write a little more than 250 words. Similarly, in the task 1, it is little more than 150 words. Now for the task 1 in general training module, they will give a situation and you need to write a letter according to the given situation. And for the task, they will always give the topic about which you have to write an essay. Now, in academic module, they will give you a pictorial representation for your task 1. For example, sometimes they will give a statistics on a graph, pie chart, maybe a table of information, maybe a bar graph, sometimes a diagram. Now you have to write, you have to report the information on the picture in words. And for the task 2, you will have a topic on which you will write an essay. So after 1 hour, they will collect your answer sheet and question booklet. That's what your writing test is. As soon as you finish your writing test, you will begin the listening test. There will not be any break in between each of these tests. So for the listening test, you need to answer 40 questions. So you will be given the question booklet, and there will be a tape script playing. While listening to the tape script, you need to answer these questions. So you need to pay attention to the tape script. You need to listen to the conversation they have in the tape script, and from that you need to get the answers of the questions on the booklet. So you have 40 questions, as I said, in 4 sections. Question number 1 to 10 will be the first part. Then question number 11 to 20 would be second part. Question number 21 to 30, third part. And question number 31 to 40 would be the fourth part. Now in the first part, you will listen a general conversation between two people. For example, you may listen to a bank teller talking to a client, or a receptionist talking to a customer. So from this conversation, you need to answer questions 1 to 10. Your answers will mostly be one-word answers, or sometimes one letter, like multiple choice questions. So you will not have any long answers over there. So in the second section, you will again listen to a conversation between 2 or more people on a general context. Sometimes a landlord talking to the tenant. Sometimes 3 friends discussing about going for a picnic. First and second part would be a conversation in a general context. And the third and fourth part would be conversation on an academic context. In the third section, third part, you will mostly listen to a teacher or a professor talking to the students. And the fourth section will always be a monologue, means one person giving a lecture, and you need to answer question number 31 to 40 from that lecture. So that's how the listening is organized. And the complexity will be on the increasing order. First section would be very easy to crack. Second would be a little tougher than that. Third and fourth would be the toughest. So the simple idea is practice well, get all the answers correct from first and second section, so you already have half the points. So even if you miss a few in the third and fourth section, you will definitely have a higher score in your listening test. Now let us talk about the third subtest, which is reading test. Now the duration of the reading test is 1 hour. In 1 hour you need to answer 40 questions. Your reading booklet would have 3 different passages from which you need to find the answers. Now you have 1 to 13 questions on the first passage, and second passage will have question number 14 to 26, and the third passage question number 27 to 40. 40 questions in 1 hour, and the 40 questions are divided into 3 different passages. So you have 20 minutes to go through each passage and answer those questions. So that's your reading test. And with this writing, listening and reading, your test day is over. And as I said, your speaking test will be on a different day. Now, looking at the speaking test in IELTS. The speaking test in IELTS is an interview. It is a one-on-one interview, you and the examiner. The duration of your speaking test is 11 to 14 minutes, which means it is more than 10 minutes and less than 15 minutes. Most examiners finish your test in 12 to 13 minutes. And this 12 to 13 minutes of conversation with your examiner is your speaking test. It's a one-on-one interview. And this 12 to 13 minutes of interview is divided into 3 parts. The first part of your speaking test is introduction part. We call it introduction and interview. And the second part of your speaking test is individual long term, which we call cue card section. And the third part of your speaking test is discussion part. Discussion. So in the first part, first 4 to 5 minutes, the examiner will ask you very simple questions about yourself, your family, your studies, your profession, your likes and dislikes. All that can come in the introduction and interview part. So after this 5 minutes, the examiner will tell you, now let us move on to the second part of your speaking test. And in the second part, examiner is going to give you a topic card. A card in which a topic is written plus 4 thoughts, like 4 prompts are written. We call it 4 sub-questions. So a topic with the prompts. And you will be allowed 1 minute. In that 1 minute, you can think about this topic, you can prepare some notes or anything you want, and you can think about what you will talk about this topic. And after this 1 minute, examiner will tell you to start speaking. So you have to speak on this topic for 2 minutes. That is 1 to 2 minutes. Mostly examiners will interrupt you before 2 minutes. That's your fluency test. So you are not supposed to stop speaking on your own in the second part. You just keep on speaking and the examiner will interrupt you within time. After interrupting you, examiner will move on to the third part of your speaking test. That will be a discussion about the topic which you talk. For example, if your topic was about your best friend, the discussion would be about friendship. Or if the topic was about the school you have studied, the discussion would be about education system in your country. If the topic was about your favorite room in your house, the discussion could be about buildings and architecture. So, on a related topic, there is a discussion. That is the third part. That will be your speaking test. So the duration of the speaking test is 11 to 14 minutes. And this 11 to 14 minutes of interview is divided into 3 parts. The first part is introduction part, which we call introduction and interview section. Second part is cue card section or individual long term. And the third part is a discussion. So this is actually the pattern of your IELTS test. Now, writing, reading, listening and speaking. How we can solve questions, how we can deal with each of these modules, all this will be in the following videos. We are going to have IELTS training for every module on this channel. So please subscribe this channel and let me know with your comments how you feel about this video, what changes you would like, what more you would like to know. Please let me know in your comments. So please subscribe this channel, like my video. Your support can always enable me to bring up more useful and informative content. Thank you.